Hey, and welcome back to the Marketer of the Day podcast. We are here with Mr. Sean M. Doyle himself. His website is seanmdoyle.com and fitzmartin.com. He is the principal at Fitzmartin Inc., which is a leading consultancy focused on sales, marketing, and management, sales and marketing technology services, and revenue operations for B2B companies. Sean and his team are focused on long-term value creation through a sales-first scientific approach to driving revenue. Sean, nice to meet you. Glad to have you on.
Oof, I'm excited about me. That was a great introduction.
Well, it's like on a resume, you put your best foot forward and you have like the 12 best things. And so hopefully, I think you can live up to your expectations. And so jumping right in, there's so many things we could talk about, but what has you personally, Mr. Sean, excited over the last 6 to 9 months about your business, about just some innovative stuff? What do you have?
Man, the rapid evolving of digital marketing technologies, particularly in pursuit of high value customers. So the way that we're able to go into a client, we're doing a turnaround right now, helping a company, $100 million-ish company that's in a rapid decline. And we're going to be able to go in and just share with them. We have shared with them the ideas of give us your top 150 prospects, the ones that will move the needle, that will change your game. And we'll actually help you communicate digitally with them, specifically at each step in the sales cycle as is appropriate, deliver the right message at the right time. And, the response is like, well, you mean like Google Ads? I'm like, no, like Google Ads on steroids, like Google Ads done amazingly, like amazing sales support, middle of the funnel work. And we've just been able to anchor into that in a way that we've never been able to. Helped a client close a $250 million deal. We helped a client close some early stage but lifetime value, probably over $100,000 a year kind of deals. So those emerging middle market companies that are looking to use marketing and pull a lever in a way they've never been able to pull it before, we're able to do that in today's digital marketing environment, and it's really a sales environment, and it's just exciting. The advisory services work we're doing is just exploding, and the work we're doing in revenue operations, that middle of the funnel, because I'm getting excited here, Robert. Yeah, slow me down, man. So I would just say this. People, if you've tried this marketing automation, you've tried some of these shiny objects over the last 5 years, and you're frustrated and don't think it works, it's not that it doesn't work. It's that there's one gap missing, and it's that middle of the funnel. And we've been able to come in and help people close the gap between that early stage marketing stuff and that later stage sales stuff, and use marketing in an incredibly effective way. So, and it's measurable. We know we can return about $284 for every dollar people spend with us. So measurable return for anybody is exciting. It's anyway, just exciting times. I love it. I'm an old man. This is like my third job in marketing, right? And I've been with one company for 30 years. It's exciting.
Well, I can feel your excitement through the computer screen. It's a great time to be alive. And so a couple of things in there. So first of all, you said that you focus on their top 150 customers, and I'm interested to because I already have a few ideas in my head about like things that you could be doing, like chasing them on LinkedIn or calling them or a snail mail, and I imagine it might be something like all of the above. But I'm just kind of like the brain's going crazy with all these guesses. But even before jumping into that, you keep mentioning this term like middle of the funnel, and you say going from something like you said, like the early marketing to the later sales stage or something along those lines. Yep. And so when we say middle of the funnel, what does that look like mechanically? Like what are the steps or the pieces there?
So fair question. The science that we follow is the trans-theoretical theorem of behavioral change, right? We call that cognitive marketing because I can't spell trans-theoretical. So I guess I could. I'll have to try it again. It's really brilliant science. The science of change is just sales. The act of buying something is a change in your behavior. You used to do something one way. Now you're going to do it another way, right? You're going to buy from a new vendor, or you didn't ever do anything at all. And now you're going to buy something to start something new, right? I never went to the gym. Now I'm going to go to the gym. It's a new behavior. Or I used to use this product. Now I'm going to use that product. Now, most of my work is in B2B. It's significant capital expenditures, multiple decision makers, elongated sales cycles. So when I'm talking about middle of the funnel, the behavioral science says that there are in the steps to making a change, there's awareness kind of stuff, right? The science calls that pre-contemplation. Every marketing firm, every agency you've ever met with gets that stuff. You've probably done some of that stuff. You've built a website, you went to a trade show, you did an ad. Like that's all that early stage stuff. Then we think about sales coming in and closing deals, right? That's what in the behavioral science we would talk about. That's the exchange relationship. It's moving from action to exchange, right? The idea of learning how to make a behavioral change and make that change. And that's what sales is great at. So what's the middle of the funnel? That's the idea of somebody goes to your website, they learn a little bit, then they move into preparing to make the change. Now, when the preparation starts, that's middle of the funnel, that is a time when different processes help people move forward. So the stuff that helped create awareness and get people to begin exploring this behavioral change, it no longer works, with very few exceptions at least. The emotional arousal, the rational reevaluation, the consciousness raising, that stuff doesn't help move people through to a deal. So now you've got to use different processes based on this behavioral science. We're able to emphatically and accurately and scientifically help people understand that now a helping relationship. Let's get somebody to make a private commitment, then a public commitment. Let's use countering techniques and environmental controls and small rewards for positive behavior. So those are the techniques that are middle of the funnel that marketing should be able to come in. So, okay, that's a ton of stuff. What did I mean? What did I mean by all that, right? So bottom line is most of you listening have thought about marketing and sales as these two polarized things. The middle ground is the gold. That's the thing that's going to help you make it work. The middle ground, the sales development reps, the business development reps, the intersection of marketing, the handoff of a lead from marketing and sales, that's the gold, man. That's the frontier that's being uncovered right now, that's really yielding the most return. So that middle of the funnel is probably, simply said, it's that thing that happens after marketing owns it and before sales owns it. That's where I'd spend my money. That's where I'm saying to our clients, spend your money and make that work very well. So to your first point, Robert, these 150 prospects, we call it selling backwards. So instead of going out and ginning up, hey, there's 10,000 people that might buy from us, and then ginning up a group, and then that group gets smaller, and then that group gets smaller, and kind of a traditional old school funnel thinking. Instead of that, why don't we just invest all of our money in the 150 people who we know would make a difference, instead of talking about lead quality and spending money on more awareness let's just focus our communications on the people that matter. And then in addition to that, let's focus the messaging so specifically that, and I guess a sales guy would probably call this hunting elephants. It's kind of an old school phrase, right? We're building websites not just to share the story of a product or a service. We're building websites. For example, we've got a company that wants to sell to Komatsu. Big, everybody knows Komatsu, right? Caterpillar, Komatsu, John Deere, those big companies. Well, if they follow our advice, and we go after these three companies, then we're going to build a website for John Deere, a website for Komatsu, and a website for Caterpillar to see. And we're going to drive the traffic from those sources to web pages that are built to give specific features, benefits, strategic advantages that our client has that Caterpillar would care about, or that John Deere would care about. So we're going to talk to sales, right? It's sales' job to have business intelligence, to know here's the three things that they're talking about at Caterpillar: just-in-time inventory, finance problem, and the quality of materials. Well, we can build a website around the weaknesses, the strategic weaknesses of our competitors now, right? So we can sell, and Caterpillar can see your company through the lens of what they care about, not through the lens of what you as a manufacturer care about. And this works in real estate. It works in any kind of services. It works. It's flipping it. So we're selling backwards. We're selling from the people in your database that are closest to a deal. And once you do that, then move back and try to fix that middle of the funnel, then go back earlier stage, then all the way back to awareness. 90% of the people out there start by creating awareness, and then they get frustrated because you've got so much work to do and it takes so long to happen. Now, again, context, Robert. I do B2B, large CapEx, emerging middle market companies. I don't know if this works selling a can of Coca-Cola or not, but this works for those bigger companies, those big exchange relationships, which I would include services and highly considered consumer goods would fit into this category as well. So, wow. Okay, you got me excited again.
Well, cool. Just by you talking about it, and so like there's a lot to follow there, but it seems like with this strategy, it seems like there's a lot less guessing because you said like the old school way of doing it, the way that's just like throwing stuff at the wall is you start with 10,000 and see how they funnel down. And it seems to me like that's so much guessing at like every stage there, and it
Right.
seems like just a matter of setting some things up and just seeing who falls out, seeing who gets through your maze and who doesn't,
Right.
versus your idea here of the top 150 and kind of like you said, hunting the elephants and going out and figuring out what they want. It seems a lot more logical, and it seems a lot more like you'd be likely to actually finish, because as opposed to like
Sure.
setting up all these steps of the funnel and getting stuck or wondering why it's not working, that seems really frustrating versus actually thinking things through. And I mean, what a concept, figuring out what they need and selling it back to them. I like that a lot. And
Um,
then so oh, go ahead.
I'm 90% sure you're from California, and I'm 90% sure Walt Disney was the one who said, figure out what the people want and build it for them, right?
Yeah, what a
So
concept.
it seemed to work pretty well. Yeah, I just think the more the more generic things get, the less effective they are. So if I've got to give a message to 10,000 people, I've got to give a relatively generic message to try to engage a chunk of them. The irony is, the more specific I get, I do exclude more people from the conversation, but I can engage them more deeply. So the inverse of that is, we'll go back to Caterpillar. If I know the three problems at Caterpillar that my company can sell into that will help, why would I not have the conversation around those three pain points? And pain points are also from UCal Berkeley. We follow some behavioral science that talks about everybody has personal pain, everybody has strategic pain, everybody has financial pain. So if you look at that framework and make sure your sales and marketing is addressing the financial, strategic, and personal pains of the person you're trying to help with the behavioral change, and I use the word help, not sell. If you're going to help that person change to a better solution, then you should know the strategic, financial, and personal pains. And then that should be the messaging. I mean, think about like, let's start over. If you're on a date with a significant other and you're sitting at the table at your meal and enjoying a conversation, do you start with these big, huge claims that are broad and generic, like about the human race, or do you start by asking the person questions, and then you hear them answer and you hear what they say and you go, okay, I just learned a little bit about that person. Maybe I can lean into that and let's talk about that if I know anything about it. Or if I don't know anything about it and I'm a decent human being, I'm going to say, that's fabulous. Tell me more about that. I don't know anything about that. I mean, you have a conversation with significant others in your lives around relevant, narrow, tight focuses, because that's what a conversation is, right? If I just walk in to a date with a significant other and I say, well, I'm just going to spend some time talking to you generically about me, if you'll just sit there and enjoy your water and wine and your meal while I punt on about me, and me, am I ever going to have a second date?
No, you're
No.
basically you're in person spamming them. You're just saying that the same
Right.
thing to everyone. There's no customization. There's no back and forth. Who wants that?
One of my favorite coworkers always says, when people talk to themselves, we say they're crazy. When marketers talk to themselves and about themselves, when businesses, I ruined the punchline. When businesses talk about themselves, we call it marketing, right? So,
Nice.
yeah, quit talking about yourself. Talk about their needs. And you asked what's exciting. Digital marketing today. That's such a generic phrase, I know, but marketing today through many digital tools is incredibly personable, incredibly relevant, and incredibly sales driven. So here's a test. Here's an easy test for your listeners. When's the last time your marketing team and your sales team got together to work on a deal? Now, I'd suggest your answer is probably not any time that you could even remember. And I'm not talking about, hey, the website had 3,000 visitors and we got 120 leads. That's not a meeting. I'm talking about, hey, we got this deal. It's late stage. How can you support us? Said sales or marketing saying, hey, here's two or three tools that we've designed that are designed to help you with late stage problems that your customer needs. And what if we build you a web page for this deal? No, when's that happening? So I think an easy test of your agency or an easy test of your marketing leadership is how involved are they late stage with sales? And it's common to see very little dialogue there. And it's also common if you talk to sales to say, for them to say rhetorically or in some way or another, no, I don't let marketing in on that because you've designed my compensation. So I don't get paid unless I close the deal. And those people don't know what I'm doing. They don't understand closing deals. Well, rhetorically, that's what they're saying when they say, no, we don't talk to marketing. I got it. I got it. I don't want your help. I don't need your help, right? So if marketing doesn't know how to close late stage, if they're not informed late stage, has your marketing team or leadership ever done sales training to learn how to close deals? I mean, the book that I've based my career on the last 15 years is not even my book. I'm going to pump somebody else's book here. It's Changing for Good. I mean, read the book Changing for Good and get a used copy on eBay. It's a great book. It's technical but it's all about how behavior changes, and then from that you can learn how to impact late stage change, otherwise called sales, right? So I mean, learn, be curious.
I mean, and curiosity is great, especially in this case where, like, I know that you have your niche, you're very B2B focused, and it follows some of what you said and a lot of what you said, but then some of the people who are listening may not be 100% dialed into your niche. But even if they aren't, a lot of these marketing principles that you're talking about still apply, even like with
Oh
the
yeah.
like marketing and sales talking to each other, even if it's only a few people, that's still important. And even some of the things you're talking about, like building a website to close a deal. You
Yeah.
mentioned that. And like, I mean, that's a right there. That's an old technique that I used to do 10 years ago. I used to make individual web pages for individual people for these $1,000 courses. And it would work again and again. And it's one of those things where it was such a good idea. I stopped doing it. And then about 2 months ago, I started doing it again. And as you're doing it, as you're cranking out the web pages or even like delegating and making all the instructions and checking the work, either way, it's a bore, or a bore or a bear or whatever you call it. It's a hassle. But then when it
Yep.
starts to pay off in little bits, like just doing the legwork and focusing, like you said, even focusing on those top customers, there's just some of these techniques that are
Yep.
super simple, but yet no one wants to do it. And so even if some of these things don't exactly 100% fit or apply to our own niche or business, like the general principles are still super helpful.
So put your CEO hat on, Robert, and I'm going to play the role of the marketing guy. Hey, Robert, I'm going to spend $7,000 and I'm going to stand up a deal page for one of our prospects. How do you feel about that?
I don't like the $7,000.
That's crazy. Okay, now I'm an SVP of sales. Hey, Robert, I got to fly out to Cali. I'm going to go with my lead on this deal. It's going to be two of us. We're going to take the flight out, flight back, hotel rooms. Probably going to cost $6,000, but 7,000, maybe $8,000. But I've got an audience with the decision makers. You're good with that, right?
If you have an audience, that's better.
Yeah, you'd send me, right? But the first idea is an idea that could get in front of your CFO, the CFO of the prospect, the CEO, the SVP of sales, procurement, research and insights, mid-level decision makers, influencers, others, and it's an asset that you can then adopt later to your next deal, and you change your messaging. So we're usually pretty quick to send sales on a long trip or even an overseas trip where we're easily into the tens of thousands, but marketing spending 7K on a deal page is usually refused. So it's just going to take executive leadership rethinking the building of assets, and it's going to take sales trusting. Now, do you still trusting that marketing knows what they're doing? And in fact, trusting only comes after evidence, right? So if you're a marketer listening to this, get that book and understand late stage sales better. Get changing for good. Or I'll interpret it for you. You can come to Fitzmartin's website, fitzmartin.com or seanmdoyle.com. There's some free videos on there, and it's the interpreted version. Or you go to Amazon and buy Shift, SHIFT, and it's a book I wrote for executives who are in charge of marketing but not trained for the task. And it gives you a couple chapters of it. That was my shameless plug for my own book. But it gives you a broken down understanding of this. So you don't have to interpret it. But no matter how you do it, think about that. And executives, think about investing in marketing in late stage manners if your marketing team can deliver on understanding what that is they should be doing. It'll pay off.
Well, fantastic. We're all about shameless plugs here and as many as possible. So we said fitzmartin.com, seanmdoyle.com. And something you said in there in that last little answer was something that hit me was this idea of, sometimes when you have like a plan or people working together or trying something new, it can always be like difficult or awkward at first. But once you have the template, whatever the template is, which might be, get this room together and get this audience and fly down there. Like it's always awkward at first, but if you've done it before, if you know the steps before, in whatever context and whatever decade and whatever technology you're using, just clone the template again. And then it's way less awkward. It's way less scary the next time. And that's just one of those, that's what hit me when you're explaining some of that. And I want to make sure that in this last few minutes of our conversation here, that we talk about this book Shift, because before we started recording, I said, I know nothing about it. I just know it's a bright red cover and I've seen it in some retargeting ad or something. So I'm curious, if someone says, what the heck is Shift? If I know nothing about it and why should I read it? Tell me about Shift.
So I mentioned I'm old, right? So I've done about 5,000 engagements over a 30-year career. And one thing I've seen consistently is people put in charge of marketing, CEOs who came up through maybe finance or maybe sales or other avenues, and they're now in charge of the company. And they've never been trained to do marketing. They've never understood marketing or maybe even never been around a good marketer. And the net result is marketing is undervalued. So typically when I do advisory services, the lever I can pull is marketing to deliver the most performance that they didn't have before. Because most people know how to do finance well, or they've got an accountant that gets them to do that well. Most people know how to manufacture or do services or deliver their services well. Most people don't. All the different functions of business, right? Most people are pretty schooled in that. HR, risk management, et cetera, et cetera. Marketing is this obtuse thing. And it's not soft science. It is hard science, man. So cognitive marketing is the transtheoretical theorem of behavioral change built for marketing. Get that book. And then Shift has 19 specific ideas for the executive in charge of marketing, but not trained for that task. And it will help you. It'll give you 19 practical ideas, including one of my favorite chapters is a chapter where I give 4 questions that you can ask a marketing leader candidate. And if they can't answer those 4 questions, walk away. They're just triggers. Walk away. They're principle based. You don't even have to understand the answers, but if they don't have a point of view on these 4 questions, you need to hire a different person. So I just think that I wanted to help. I'm old enough now. I'm going to give you my secrets, and I want to help people be successful. And Shift is designed to do that. It was published by Rock Bench out of Nashville, which I was honored by that publishing company, and of course it's available on the only store in the world anymore, Amazon. So. Or you can shoot me an email. Robert designed, he offered to pay for a few of them. So just shoot me an email, Sean at Fitzmartin, and SEAN at fitzmartin.com, and I will send them to you courtesy of Robert Plank.
Nice. I'll pay you back in Bitcoin. So Sean at fitzmartin.com is where you can contact Sean. And we mentioned those other websites. If you have a question for him or you want a copy of that book, email him. And you know what, Sean? Like, what is your ideal client? Like, what is the type of person that you would exactly like to send you one of these email messages that could be just snooping and listening today?
Yeah, I want that executive of that emerging middle market B2B company that what's gotten you to where you are now is just hitting walls, and you're just at the point where you've got to change some things. You're probably doing 25, 50 million a year, and you're ready to do 200 million, and you need to shift the way you're thinking, not a plug on the book, but just change the way you're thinking about marketing and sales and how those things should work together. So that's who I'd love to hear from and who I can help most. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, if that sounded like you exactly, if you felt like Sean was reading a page out of your diary, then send him that message, Sean at fitzmartin.com. We also mentioned SeanMDoyle.com, fitzmartin.com, and get the book Shift on Amazon. Run, don't walk. Go get it right now. And we'll see you there. So thanks, Sean, for stopping by and for sharing some of this cool stuff with us.
It's been great fun. You have a great platform, and I loved seeing what you do. So thank you for the time, Robert.